A true learner always says that. Love it.
All right, so I'm going to just go ahead and share out. All right, do you see the screen here?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Just to give you an overview, I don't know if you landed on this site at all yet, but it's augmented reality and virtual reality in the classroom. There's some awesome resources here where you can get lesson plans and support. You can also click on the gallery and explore any of the created spaces. I usually just go ahead and log in with my Google account. If you're a Microsoft school, I believe that might work as well. Once you're into CoSpaces here, if you're on the EDU, you have the ability to create classes so you can see all of your students' work, which I thought was really great. You also have the option to collaborate with other teachers. Here, we were trying to create Bloom's taxonomy in VR with another educator, Brian Costello. So he kind of laid this out, but the space is shared with me, so I can go in and edit and link examples to it as well.
Oh,
you also have full.
See that.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah. This is what it looks like. If I open it up, you can see the chart. We're trying to code in the old language of Blockly, but
okay.
You can see right here in 3R, or 3D, you can see the different ones. And what our plan is to, when somebody clicks on the create pillar, that it would link to a space in VR that would show an example of that being done. You would then essentially create the scenes and list them down here, just like Google Slides. So then if you were to open up the code, you would say when create is clicked, jump to scene create, and it would go to that VR scene. So you could either play this on your computer through. So for example, if I click play here, you can see that there's 25 scenes for the 25 pillars, and it would just link to a different CoSpaces scene.
Okay, we need a simpler example. I'm sorry I asked for that. My brain's hurting a little bit, Michael.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, that is not that is usually not where you go to start with CoSpaces EDU, but you said you wanted to see it. So. What I would do is I would go into my spaces and I'll click create a space.
Perfect.
You can either bring in your own 360 images, which you can download from the internet if you can find them, or you could just click 3D environment, which is what we do with our students in most cases. When you come into the space, all that's there is this camera. This is what your eyes are looking at as you enter a scene. You click on environment, and you can change it to any of these landscapes. They've added some new ones with city at night and city during the day. I'm just going to go ahead and put myself in the middle of this field. As you rotate around, you'll see a grid there. You can only build on that grid. You can also rotate the camera around and change the point of view. The library is where it's pretty neat. This is where you can bring in any character. So CoSpaces did a great job of bringing in tons of different characters, from people to the Grinch to an ice skater woman to a knight. You name it, your creativity can run wild. But if I drag a character, and I'm going to drag in Fancy Man. And as you close the library, you can zoom in on Fancy Man, and you can make them bigger. When you click on the ring, you also have the ability to add any of these animations. I can have him doing the dance twist, and you can see that Fancy Man has now started to dance. I can also double click on him and have him speak, or you can code him to say something when he's clicked on if you wanted to make it more interactive. But I could just say, hello, Canada. And when you press enter, he will be dancing and saying hello, Canada. You can also bring in all different kinds of animals. You can bring in different kinds of housing. So if you wanted to recreate a room or a space, or remodel a house, you can drag any of these items in. Like if I were to bring the stove in right here, all you do is you drag it and drop it right into the space. And from here, you can move things up, down, make it bigger or smaller. You can also rotate things. I've seen people actually recreate the boat from Moana in here with all of the different building materials. You also have transportation, nature, all of these different categories. You can also go and search by keyword. You can also upload. What I really like, they've integrated with Google Poly. So if I click on 3D models, I can do a web search and go out to the web and try to find a 3D model of something. So if I'm looking for, I don't know, skate, maybe I'm looking for a hockey skate, and anything with the word skate is going to come up. But it talks to the Google Poly library, and then you can bring these items into your space. But our students have used this for digital storytelling. I know we only had about 10 minutes. You can also upload your audio clips. So I can actually record myself talking on a tool like Vocaroo, download the MP3, and then I can attach that audio to any character. So you can do things like that.
So there's no way to do audio right within here? It has to be uploaded?
Yeah, unfortunately,
Okay.
I know. That would be great if you could record audio right within, but currently you have to record your own MP3 and bring it into the space.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone has any questions. That's kind of a quick crash course. You can also add a new scene just like that. And then when you press play, what you'll notice is 2 out of 2 on the bottom, and you can go back and forth between these spaces.
Can I ask a question? If I wanted 2 kids to collaborate in this space, can I do that?
Yes, they can share the space between them. I'm not sure if they can collaborate in real time at the same time.
But they can share.
You can, yes.
Okay. How do they do that? Do you remember?
I believe if I go to my spaces and if I wanted to click on this one, let's see, share private. The space isn't share. Share now. You can view this. I'm trying to think of how you can do it in EDU. I haven't played with this feature yet.
Sorry, I should have asked you a couple of questions before. I didn't.
Oh, no,
but when we figure it out, we'll just add it to the Google slide, Michael.
Absolutely. If you go.
Any other questions? Can you share one that your class has done?
Yeah, I can do that. I could paste it into the chat, but I just wanted to show you in the gallery what's really cool. If you scroll down and you look for things from the CoSpaces gallery, like if I go to languages and literature and view all, I can take a space from their gallery, like this Lion and the Mouse story, the fable. And one of the things you can do is you can remix it. And if you click the remix button, it'll copy it to your space, and you can open that copy. So it takes a professionally created 3D or VR space,
so cool.
And then you could have your kids look at the code under the hood and see what's going on here. So when you press play, they can start to examine some of this code. So if I were to press play right now and click on this to start the story, you'll see that there'll be some music playing. The mouse is going to start to talk to the line. At some point, you have this
really loud.
Sorry. So you can see that they're having a dialogue. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So we couldn't hear anything you said when you were talking, but.
Oh, okay. But
Sorry.
basically, you can see how all of that is coded. Basically, every animation was changing based on the time there. So, and then you can even go to the other scene and see, if you click on scene 2, see the code under the hood there. One of the things on the mobile device is if your students create a scene, at the bottom there'll be an AR mode. If you were to go to my Twitter profile right now, at @M_DREZ, the tweet that is pinned to the top of my profile is actually a CoSpaces EDU space made, but I took it out of the VR world and put it into my office so that when I move it around, I can actually overlay the VR world in the real world. So like mixed reality.
I love that. I'm not ready for that, but I love it so much. Okay, and then did you have one of your student creations?
Yes. Let me see.
Again, I'm sorry I didn't prep you better for this.
It's on a QR code. I know I have them in the email that I sent you. You can dig it up that way.
Oh, can you talk to us about the freemium piece? It used to be free. Now there's a freemium. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. If you go to the plans here and you look and you see what between the basic and the pro, you still can access the gallery. You can still create. You can use all of their building blocks. Some of the objects in the library might be decreased, whereas unlimited. You can still import your own external files in there, which I like. You can bring in transparent images. You can bring in
up to 10. That's not bad.
10 in per space, which isn't bad. Number of spaces available, 2 spaces. That's probably where they get you a little bit now, because you can only make 2. But you can still make them as long as you want. So you could have 1 space and just keep adding a slide. That would be a workaround. You code with the basic blocks. You just might get some more command prompts there. I never used the physics engine. That's pretty heavy duty. The ability to remix a space like I just did. So you can still get pretty far on the free. And then as far as that space that was made by students, a lot of them were in the teachers' accounts that I worked with. I don't have them in, so because I'm just a tech integration specialist, so I support them in their work. I believe I sent them out of here.
I can share that with them if you can't find it readily.
Yep.
There I am.
There you are. Here we go. All right. So let's see.
I may have linked it already.
I'm trying to think if I have.
I think I linked everything that you had.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see if this is the one.
That's your Twitter one. Yay.
Oh yeah. This is the Twitter. This just shows this was a VR space. In augmented reality. So I just basically pulled everything out of the CoSpaces scene and put it into the real world. And then you could kind of code, I coded the rocket so that when you click on the rocket, it would move up by X number of feet at X number of seconds. And then these are just some, those are elements just right inside the CoSpaces gallery. These are just stickers or images that I imported. But you can see the potential for digital storytelling for sure.
Absolutely. So anyone who's like, I don't know this perfectly, I don't think I could do it. Do you think you knew it perfectly when you did it with kids? How did that go?
I did not know it perfectly at all. I still don't know it perfectly. When we did this with our high schoolers in a coding class, the kids coded their own kind of games with inside of it. Some made like escape rooms, things like that. They were showing me things that I hadn't even discovered yet. So I was learning from them. But the fact that it's drag and drop, the fact that you can just take an item and just drop it onto the canvas is, it doesn't get much simpler than that. So I wouldn't fear getting started. And it's web-based. So it works on a Chromebook. It works on an iPad. It's easy that way.
Awesome. Thank you so very much for taking the time, Michael.
Yeah.
Talk soon.
Yep. We'll see you.
Take care. Bye.